Hi everyone, and welcome to the Introduction to C# in Unity series. So we're going to be talking about while loops. In the previous tutorial we talked about for loops, so let's move on to while loops. Now if you remember, loops or iteration is used to execute a statement of code or a block of code X amount of times. Now we talked about for loops. So a while loop will execute till a condition evaluates to true. If the condition is false, then we will exit out of the while loop. And here you can see the general syntax of a while loop. We have the while keyword, and inside parentheses we have the condition, and inside the opening and closing curly braces we have the code which is to be executed placed. So this is where your code block will go. Now, while loops whose condition never evaluates to false will execute infinitely, and these are known as infinite loops. So if the condition never evaluates to false, the while loop will keep looping over again and again. So it's going to execute infinitely. So we want to make sure that at some point in time, the condition inside the parenthesis evaluates to false. Otherwise, your while loop will keep running and your Unity editor is going to hang. So let's have a look at an example. Now in my editor, I already have my scene set up. I have this cube object, and my while controller script is attached to my cube object, which you can see here on the right in the inspector window. Okay, so let's take a look at the while controller script. Okay, do not recover. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Okay, so I'm using my namespaces here at the top. I have my while controller class, which extends from monoBehavior, and because we're using the monoBehavior class, we can use the start event method, which is provided to us by the monoBehavior class. And at the top here, I've declared a variable which is called num, and it's of the int data type, and its value is equal to 0. Okay, so inside my start event method, first I'm going to go ahead and structure my while loop. Okay, so this is what the structure of a while loop is. Now inside the parentheses is where I'm going to put in my condition. So my condition will be, as long as num is less than or equal to, let's say, 10, then what we want to do is we want to use debug.log to log the string the value of num is plus the value of the variable num. Okay, so there's no double quotes here because this is not a string. This actually refers to the num variable, which is of the integer data type. And if you remember that the double quotes are only around strings. Okay, and then end of the statement, finish off with a semicolon. Okay, so when a while loop starts executing, it's going to check if the value of num is less than or equal to 10. So that's our condition. And as long as this condition is true, we're going to use debug.log to log to the console the string the value of num is, and plus the value of num at that particular iteration. And once we're done, then we want to increment num by 1. Okay, then on the second iteration of the while loop, num will now be 1, and this condition 1 is less than or equal to 10 evaluates to true. So we're going to then once again log to the console the value of num is plus 1. Okay, because that's the value of num in the second iteration. And then we're going to increment num again with num plus plus. So let's go ahead and have a look. So just waiting. Okay. So in my I'm like in my console, so I've clicked on that tab. Now I'm going to click on play. Okay, so out here you can see that we have a while loop which executed. So we have the value of num is 0, 1, 2. Okay, so the while loop executed for as long as the condition num is less than or equal to 10 is true. Okay, now during the last iteration when num was 10, then we incremented 10 by 1, 11, right? Then 11 is less than or equal to 10 is false. So we exited out of the while loop. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you found this useful.